Please join me in welcoming DJ Schutz.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with the club. As Scott shared, this club has a huge history with Door of Faith, and we couldn't do what we do without individuals and clubs like you joining us. And it's very weird being videoed. I realize sarcasm doesn't come across on video, so I need to be careful. It does mean a lot, your long-term involvement. I know many of you have sponsored kids this year for Christmas, and that really is a family event. The donations that come down, our older kids are put in charge. Just like any large family, everybody pitches in. And our older kids, our college-age kids, will be going out this week and next week to purchase gifts for all the other children in the orphanage. It's a family event whenever we do things. I was going to share a little bit. I know there's a lot of people who aren't familiar with Door of Faith. Let me give you a quick intro, then I'll give you an update, and then we'll end with some questions and answers. I know with a lot of this work, people are interested in orphanages. This is very different than anything you would see in the U.S. Door of Faith today is the largest orphanage in Baja. We currently have 120 children from infant all the way up through college age. Very few of our children are true orphans. It's a lot like bulk foster care. Severe abuse, kids have been abandoned, kids that really fall through the cracks. The difference between foster care and what we do, though, is it's long-term. Our children grow up with us. This becomes their home. And secondly, we don't get a dime from the government. We operate entirely on private donations. So it really does have a huge impact when clubs like yours partner with us for special projects, for the eye care, the vision care, and the other projects you guys have been able to partner with us over the years. As a home, we focus on three things. We're pretty simple. First, give our kids a normal family life. We eat meals together, birthdays together, family outings together. Right now, my kids are on their way to school. All the kids have chores. We really do grow up together as a family. We try to give them that sense of security. Second area of focus is education. Huge focus. We want to give our kids a future. All of our kids go to public school, but our kids don't age out at 18 as long as they're full-time students. So they're welcome to stay with us. This year we have 13 in college. We've never had this many in college. And actually next week their schedule's a little bit different than here. Two of our older kids are graduating, one from law school, one with an RN degree. We really want to give our kids a future, and that's very, very important to us, like any family. The third area, which ties directly into Rotary, and I'm excited about our expanding in this, is community service. I know it sounds odd to say an orphanage is focused on community service, but as you here have experienced, there's great joy, there's great healing in going out and helping others. And our kids take an active role in service. And our kids go out, partnering with groups that come down, building homes for poor families in the area. We do food distribution from the orphanage, and our children go help pass out food to poor families in our area. Our kids go out and volunteer at other orphanages. And it's become kind of a healing model for us. It brings our kids from victims, poor me, look at me, what am I entitled to people out in the field touching other people's lives. And it's been incredibly healing, and it's been powerful for our kids. And our kids own that. I'm very proud of our kids in the fact that they really do it. It's not a chore. They get joy from it. A few months ago, we had a new boy being dropped off. And it happens. You don't think about it, but every child in an orphanage has a first day. And there was a boy being dropped off, a police cruiser pulled up, and there was about an 11-year-old boy who got out. And you could see he was just terrified. And while I was signing papers and handling paperwork with the police, he was brought to our custody. Boys that age, 10, 11, 12-year-old boys, came over. They knew what was going on. They've all been through it. And they welcomed this boy in. They said, come with me. And while I was still working on paperwork, they took him. And they showed him the dorms, they showed him the kitchen, and they just kind of explained to him, hey, you've landed in the right spot. You're going to be okay. And I'm incredibly proud that my kids own the ministry emotionally. They are a big part of what we do. It's not done to them. It really is a team. And that community service mindset is critical to what we do. I know some of you have been down to the home. We would love to have you come down and see it. I didn't know you had some great visual aids. I would have brought slides to show you the home. It really is a bright, cheerful place. And I know that your club is planning on coming down the first part of the year. They haven't picked a date yet, but in January, February, I know Richard's coordinating a trip coming down. We would love to have you come down and join us. I guarantee nobody will shoot at you. It really is safe to come down to Mexico. It's much safer than most areas in the U.S. or a lot of areas in the U.S. Thousands of visitors come through every day into Baja, and it really is safe to come down. And it's great to see that coming back, people realizing it is safe. Tourism has really exploded in the last year or two, and it's great to see groups coming back in force when people are realizing it really is safe to come down to Baja, and they have a great experience when they do come down. And I'm sure the people who've been down to our home will share it's not a depressing situation. People leave amazed. This last week, NBC News was down. They were shooting their Warm Fuzzy Christmas piece. And it's going to air either this Sunday or the following Sunday in LA. And the producer actually sent me an email the following day saying what an impact it had on her, both professionally but also personally, that she had never experienced anything like that. Door of Faith is a very cool place, and we're excited about where it's going. We're excited that your club's a huge part of it. A little bit of an update, some of you know, we're doing more and more work with other orphanages today. My wife and I are spending a lot of our time doing orphanage consulting work. We were actually invited, we spent some time in Africa this year working with some orphanages over there. We're working directly with homes within about an hour's radius of Door of Faith, trying to share our philosophy that an orphanage should be a bright, cheerful, cool place for kids to grow up. But the bigger issue is community service. Like I said, Rotary clubs get that. That community service, focusing on others, is healing, and that's what we're designed to do. And we're excited about expanding that, bringing that to other homes, bringing that to other child care situations. And we're excited about the direction Door of Faith is headed today. I just threw a whole lot of information at you guys. For those of you who've been down a lot, it's been an exciting year. As I said, we have a lot of kids in college. We've also have the next generation coming in. Right now we have 16 under 2. And as I left, I got a phone call from our social worker. We're getting in a new baby 11 days old. So they come in very, very young. But they grew up with us, and we give them a future, and we're excited to produce productive members of society who want to give back and change the world. I would love to open it for questions. You know, you've heard lots of people come up and talk, but I love the question and answers because a lot of people in the group have specific questions about what we do.
DJ, I forgot to mention that you grew up in Yorba Linda, right? And so can you explain maybe like how this all transpired, you getting involved down there?
I lost a bet. 25 years ago, if someone had told me I would be running an orphanage in Mexico, I would have told them they were insane. I grew up in Orange County. I had a successful company locally, and I was comfortable. I liked doing what I was doing. But I was bringing a youth group down from a church in Anaheim, and we were serving at an orphanage in Mexico. Most orphanages are depressing, miserable places, and it made me crazy. The businessman side of me saw the discrepancy. It's not like Baja is in Africa or Haiti. We're an hour away from some of the wealthiest areas in the world. And I knew if people were pointed in the right direction and given a high level of accountability, something very cool could be built. And for the members of the club who've been going to Door of Faith for 20 years, you've seen the difference. When my wife and I started, there were 34 children and a home that was really struggling. And today, it's grown to something very cool. I was bringing the youth group down. I got to know some of the orphanages, and I had one day that had a huge impact on me. I don't think I've ever shared this with the club. I got to know the homes, and I've talked to some people here who go to Baja on a regular basis, and I went down one day on my own just to drop off a piece of equipment at a home. And I saw something going on. I didn't speak the language at the time. There was a boy being dropped off, like the one I just shared about. And I could see the terror on him. And there was nothing I could do. And I knew it was a day he was going to remember the rest of his life. And I just sat with him. And like I said, I didn't speak the language. I could order a beer and find the bathroom, and you're only going to get so far in counseling with that. But I sat with him, and it had a profound impact on me. I got in my car and drove home. And as much as I heard for him, I knew I wanted to do that. I wanted to be with people at that level. And that was really the day I knew I wanted to do this. And about that time I met my wife doing volunteer work at an orphanage, and it was a hobby that turned into a life. And this July will mark 20 years we've been working down there.
DJ, one of the things that I've learned since I've been a member of the club is that, the kids have to have uniforms to go to school, and you have to transport them, right, with vans, and so I think we've helped out with the uniforms and the vans. Do you have other needs like that that are necessary to get the kids the education that you're providing?
Sure. We're like any other family with 120 kids. There are huge challenges. Right now, it's about 8 o'clock. Most of our kids are on the way. What time is it? My kinder kids are lining up to get to kindergarten. This year we have 98 children in 8 different schools, kindergarten through university. So you can imagine what a typical morning looks like to get 98 kids in the right uniform with the right backpack and the right vehicle to the right school, all with changing schedules, and hope we get the same number back at the end of the day. School uniforms are ongoing. Transportation, we spend almost as much money on transportation as we do food. Between all the school runs, doctor runs, supply runs, there's expenses in any family. My propane bill is close to $2,000 a month. Bathing, cooking, it's a lot of work to care for this many kids. But ongoing needs, college scholarships, we have 13 in college. College is actually very reasonable in Mexico. It costs me about $250 a month per child to keep them in college right now. But used laptops are great, even that one. Technology needs, kids in college, high school kids, but technology needs, transportation needs, uniform needs. Like I said, we're like any other family. You guys focus on, you've helped with uniforms, you've helped with the van, which we really appreciate. The Christmas needs, all of the minutia that goes on in family life that means so much. My wife handles birthdays. Every child gets a cake on the birthday, which means we average about 2 birthday parties a week. And there's a lot that goes into day-to-day life. And we couldn't do it without clubs like you pitching in with the specific projects, like the generous, incredibly generous offerings you guys make to help with our Christmas.
Maybe you could go over what the daily function is of the orphanage as far as laundry and how meals are set up.
Sure. We operate like a normal family. I know that sounds weird. Half of my kids are on Facebook. We have our own soccer teams. We have so many kids. We have 3 teams of our own. But we eat breakfast as a family at 6:30. But between the 3 meals throughout the day, our cooks prepare close to 400 plates of food a day. We do about 80 loads of laundry a day. Right now we have 16 in diapers. It's just the sheer volume of what we do is kind of hard to understand. We couldn't do it without a fantastic crew. Right now we have 4 full-time Americans. All the American, my wife, myself included, have to have their own support. No American receives a dime from Door of Faith. And then we have 25 on the paid Mexican side. Cooks, dorm parents, laundry people, transportation, maintenance. It's really a small town. With children and staff, there's 150 people we're responsible for. So there's a lot that goes into it every day. I see somebody shaking their heads. What's the biggest family in this room? 4 or 5 kids? Amateurs. But we couldn't do it without great teams, great people volunteering for us, and great teams like you partnering in, whether it's helping from afar, helping from up here, or coming down. We have great people. We have retirees in our area who just come in and hold babies a couple days a week. And it takes a lot of people with different vision to make Door of Faith happen. We couldn't do it with, like I said, without people like you partnering with us.
That's a good point you bring up. I mean, how do you fund this? I mean, where does the money all come from? Do you have like 5 Rotaries and churches? I mean, where does all the money that it takes to do everything you just mentioned? How do you, and do you produce money while you're there? Is there a business that's going on that creates income?
Great questions. The dollars are incredibly strong in Baja. You guys know what it takes to raise kids. You can imagine what just our medical needs alone are. Our annual operating budget has been running around $500,000 to care for 120 kids at a really high level. Most of you have been involved in nonprofits. Our administration and fundraising expenses consistently at about 3%. So we run really lean on the administrative side. But the bulk of our donations are individuals. We work with churches, we work with Rotary clubs, but the bulk of our donors are $20, $30, $40 checks that trickle into our P.O. box. The newsletters that are on your table, we mail those out. We do an electronic newsletter. We do some promotion. In-house, we have various ways to help with income also. We actually have so many visitors today that we have a Door of Faith gift shop that nets about $1,000 a month. And we host groups from all over North America. This year we built our 3rd dorm camp area just to host groups. Rotary clubs, usually church youth groups, high school groups, family groups that will come in and stay on site with us. And we get a little bit of campground rental fees. We're actually renting out the facilities now. But the bulk of the groups we host, we send away. Some of them work on site with us. The rest work with other orphanages, do home construction locally, do medical outreach, partner with other groups. A friend of mine, Jim Kirk Johnson, is here. He lives locally, and he runs a fantastic organization that helps directly with a variety of orphanages in the area. And we've had their groups stay with us, and then they host them and take them out in other areas. Jim in Strong Tower was directly responsible for our new nursery building that went up a few years ago, and several of you have been down to experience how great that is. And but I invited Jim today. Like I said, he's locally. Get him in your Rotary Club. But he organizes a lot of groups that come down to help out, and they do an incredible job down there. Right now, he's building a home south of Ensenada. Some of the homes are very specialty. We both do a lot of work with a home that has nothing but deaf children. And right now, Jim is bringing teams down to build a home south of Ensenada for severe special needs kids. So there's a lot of great work going on down in Baja. So whether it's with your club or with some of the other groups that already go to Mexico, come down and experience it. It'll change your life. It really will. I kind of rambled there. I hope I answered your question.
Perfect.
Yeah. I tend to ramble.
Are you open to visits from individuals? Or
Definitely. We love drop-by visits. We're actually really easy to find. For those of you who know Baja, we're about halfway between Rosarito and Ensenada, about 2 miles off the toll road. But it's really easy to get to us. And we love when people just drop by for visits. And there's always somebody on site and give you a tour and let you meet the kids. And so if any of you are just down for the weekend, come down for lobster and come down and hold babies for an hour. Come down and see what we're doing. We love showing what's been done at Door of Faith and what teams have been able to accomplish there. Okay. Am I long or short?
No, you're good. You've got more time.
Oh, any other questions before the photo op? Yeah.
Do the parents of these orphans ever come in and say, hey, I want my baby back, or I want my son back?
I'm probably going to offend somebody with this response. Most of the parents that we work with, I wish they would just go away. Most of our kids today who are at Door of Faith come from such horrible backgrounds or horrific abuse. The parents have lost all rights. A lot of our babies come in where we don't know of any family. They've been abandoned at the hospital or abandoned. It happens here too. We only have a handful of kids where they have families that come and visit, but they need written permission from a government worker before they're even allowed to visit their child. But occasionally a child is able to go back with some family member. But the government workers, social workers really check out and do a home visit. It's not unlike the U.S. in that respect. Okay. Yeah.
In some of my former Rotary clubs, we were involved with cortisone and also the children of the dump in the Tijuana area.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where kids that just scavenge the dumps to earn enough to survive. Have you had any involvement with that group? I know Cortisone has actually built houses around the dump to help those kids and families there.
I know the group. Corazon does fantastic work. But I work directly with another ministry working in the dumps in Tijuana. And they built a little kitchen and dining hall smaller than this room. And they feed kids living in those pallet shacks in the hills in Tijuana. They feed about 300 children a morning, Monday through Friday, hot breakfast. For most of the kids, it's the only meal they get. And our kids actually go up and volunteer. Our kids go up and scramble eggs and make pancakes, and our kids go up and volunteer with that ministry quite a bit. And I wish my wife was here. She was actually up in that area 3 weeks ago building a home for a single mom living in the dumps up there. We partnered with various groups. My wife spent the whole day up there. it's a constant battle. My wife wants to be out serving the poorest of the poor, and I'm like, hey, we got work here, come back. But no, we know the area, and we're directly involved with several of the groups working up there today.